I've come to learn that there's a huge difference between failing and failure. Failing is like stubbing your toe. It happens. It's a verb, It's just something you do. But failure is a noun. It's an identity. It's a place of where you stay. And I failed a lot along the way. But I was never a failure because I kept trying, I kept doing it, and I understood over time that my value wasn't representative of the things that worked or didn't work. It was so frustrating because I was chasing an idea of value, not understanding that I was value to begin with. A crumpled up $20 bill is still $20. It doesn't lose its value when it's beaten up. You have a right to what you're feeling, but just because you feel it doesn't mean it's real. I'm going to acknowledge that I don't like this, but I'm also going to acknowledge that I don't want to stay in this feeling, because if I already have to go through this diabetes, I already have to go through being different, I already have to go through feeling like a monster, I don't have to beat myself up in my own head. If you get a flat tire on the side of the road, you don't set your car on fire. You deal with the flat tire, but that's what I felt like I was doing, and a lot of people do. A lot of people set the car on fire. Instead of addressing the main issue, they build upon it and make it worse. How can I become more than what's happened to me? How can I become more than this circumstance that I hate? But how can I not let that hate towards a circumstance I can't control me? Sometimes we get addicted to this, like, making everything beautiful, making everything like amazing, and sometimes we have to be real. Some situations do suck, they do, and we have to allow them to suck and not invalidate the fact that it does suck. My job is to not let my mind take over, and that's when I win and when I lose and everything in between. You have a choice between what you think and what you do, and that choice is everything. Motivation comes after action. Okay, so stick with me. Motivation comes after action. The question is not how do you develop the motivation to keep going. The real question is, how do you develop the discipline to do the stuff you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it? Floss one tooth. Go to the gym and lift one weight one time. Then you can stop. Then you can go home. Then you can stop. More than likely, because you already got there, because you already started, you're going to finish. Getting there is the majority of the issue. The discipline to start, that's what you need. The motivation to keep going comes after the action to start. I could ask anyone watching, do you need to work? And more than likely, everyone would probably say yes. And I will say, no, you don't. That's a lie. That's a lie that you're telling yourself. You don't need to work. You could be homeless. You could give up everything you own and you could live on the streets. You could. So it's not a need, it's a want. It's a desire to not be homeless. It's a desire to maintain the life that you have. And if we have an ability to turn a desire into a necessity like we do with our job, you have the same ability to turn a desire of fitness goals into a necessity to do it regardless of how you feel. So on those days you don't feel like it, if you know you need to, you have to. You teach best what you need to learn most. That has stuck with me for so long. And I've kind of built on that concept of the answers you need are in the problems you haven't solved yet. For me, I needed to learn how to validate myself. I needed to learn how to see value in myself when I saw myself as broken. I needed to learn how to, lift weights thinking that I couldn't. And now I teach people that stuff. That's my job, What I teach now is what I needed to learn most back then. And it's so crazy how the problem becomes a solution. What held you back is what can push you forward. A lot of people could benefit if they really looked at the problems they're facing right now. There are massive solutions within those problems that can take you to a new level of life if you look at them from a different perspective. Focus on what you can control. That concept has reduced my stress, has reduced my anxiety, has reduced so much unnecessary worry in my life. You know, so many people be like, oh, Chris, it's easier said than done. Absolutely, that's true. But it's better done than said. If you focus on what you can control, you reduce the energy investment into things you can't. What if? What if I get fired? What happens if my partner leaves me? What happens if my business fails? What if? Okay, you can't control the what ifs. You can't control external circumstances. What I can control is my thoughts, my behaviors, my actions. I can create a plan. I can create an action set. I can do those things. That's what I can control. So when I stop focusing on living life in the back seat and take the driver's wheel of responsibility, and not just responsibility, but responsibility, the ability to respond to anything that happens to me, my life got a lot better. So now I choose to focus on what I can control, not what I can't. I've always wanted to gain the upper hand of situations, and it wasn't until I matured to understand that the only upper hand that matters is having the upper hand over yourself. And I was like, how do I gain the upper hand over myself? How do I gain the upper hand over a situation I have no control of? Well, you go back to that concept that I discussed, focusing on what you can control. From there, I built 5 other concepts, and I built this book to help people simply navigate the struggles of life by internalizing things instead of blaming the outside world, giving you concepts that can help you do something about it. Focus on what you can control, that so you don't create cages around your lifestyle, and you learn how to navigate the true emotions and feelings so that you can have the upper hand always over a situation, even if it's unfavorable. I know everyone is busy, but there is nothing more important than making sure mentally that your mental health is good and making sure you're living your life on your terms and not just falling in line with what you think should be done. I can't really prove that you're supposed to be something, like you should be something, but I can say that with choice and effort, you can go really damn far.